I used to think meditation was for people with too much free time, until I tried it. I'm the kind of person who's always busy, my mind constantly buzzing with to-do lists, meetings, deadlines, and non-stop phone notifications. And if you're anything like me, you'll get this. Even when I'm doing nothing, my mind just won't stop. I used to think meditation was vague, floaty, or a bit too spiritual. Who has the time to sit still and do nothing but breathe? But one morning, I woke up feeling drained, buried under pressure, and I hadn't even started my day yet. That's when I asked myself, what would happen if I tried meditating just for 7 days? I wasn't expecting a miracle. I just wanted to know, can I even sit still for 10 minutes? Could this help with the mental chaos I often feel? And what would happen inside me if I actually committed just 10 minutes a day? Electric light bulb. In this video, I'll share what happened on day 1 and why it was surprisingly uncomfortable. How my brain started reacting differently around day 3 or 4. And the moment on day 6, when I realized I didn't have to try to be calm anymore. I was already there. White right pointing back hand index if you've ever been curious about meditation but haven't dared to try it. White right pointing back hand index if you think your mind is too busy to sit still. White right pointing back hand index if you're looking for something small enough to start, but powerful enough to change you from within. Then hit like, subscribe, and join me on this 7-day journey. Who knows, maybe tomorrow, you'll begin too. Part 1, Day 1, When Silence Becomes Terrifying. I used to think sitting still was the easiest thing in the world. Turns out, it was one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever done. 9 o'clock Day 1. 6 a.m. I sat cross-legged, set a 10-minute timer, and closed my eyes. No music. No phone. Just me and myself. First 5 seconds, am I doing this right? Next 15 seconds, did I turn the stove off? After 30 seconds, surely it's been 10 minutes already. I peeked. It had only been 1 minute and 12 seconds. Weary face, my mind wasn't quiet, it was screaming. Thoughts flew by like high-speed trains. I've got that 9 a.m. meeting. Did I reply to that message last night? Is anyone even watching my videos? I didn't fight the thoughts, I got swept away by them. And when the timer finally went off, I exhaled like I had just escaped from prison. But here's the truth. I wasn't meditating. I was just sitting there waiting for it to be over. And I realized something that kind of shook me. I didn't know how to slow down. I didn't know how to simply be with myself, no screen, no task, no stimulation. Microscope neuroscience explains this perfectly. When you stop all external activity, your brain doesn't shut down, it tunes into internal noise. A part of the brain called the default mode network activates, where your memories, emotions, and worries all rise to the surface. And for someone like me, who lives life at full speed, that was a tidal wave. Chart with downward trend, but that was also the first step. I realized, if I can't sit still for 10 minutes, how can I expect to live peacefully for an entire day? Meditation, for me, wasn't sitting quietly. It became a mirror, reflecting back the chaos I usually ignore. Electric light bulb. And the only lesson I took from day 1. I don't need to be good at meditating. I just need the courage to face the noise in my mind, without running. That day, I didn't succeed. But I started a conversation between me and my own mind. White right pointing back hand index. In the next part, I'll share what happened on day 3. When I stopped being afraid of silence. And started noticing something strange and powerful shifting inside my head. Part 2. Day 3, when I finally touched real stillness. Day 1 was chaos. Day 2 wasn't much better. But by day 3, something had begun to shift, not outside, but inside. 9 o'clock I sat in the same spot. Hands resting on my knees. Back straight. Eyes closed. Timer set for 10 minutes. The difference this time? I stopped trying to push my thoughts away. I let them come and go like cars passing on the street. I didn't resist them. I didn't chase them either. Water wave, and then, for the first time, I felt a strange kind of space in my head. Not emptiness, but openness. Like a room that's finally been cleared out. Thoughts still appeared, but they no longer overwhelmed me. It was like I had stepped slightly outside of my own thoughts, just watching them, without judgment. According to research from Harvard Medical School, meditation increases gray matter density in the areas of the brain responsible for self-awareness, emotional regulation, clear thinking. And one of the earliest signs of that change? The ability to observe your thoughts without being swept away by them. I didn't know if I was meditating correctly, but I did know this. For the first time, I felt a small but clear distance between me and my worries. The 10 minutes flew by that day. I wasn't counting seconds. I wasn't checking the timer. I was just there. And when the bell rang to signal the end, I didn't breathe a sigh of relief like, finally done. I just thought quietly to myself, yeah, today felt a little lighter. Repeat button. The most surprising part? I didn't get more done that day. But I got through my work with less noise. I responded to emails more calmly. And I didn't feel that constant rush or pressure like I usually do. Electric light bulb. What I learned. Meditation didn't change my work. It changed how I showed up in my work. And in myself. White right pointing backhand index. In the next part, I'll share what happened on day 6. When I experienced something even more surprising than stillness. A small, quiet joy of being alone with just myself. Part 3. Day 6, when I found a real connection with myself. In the beginning, meditation felt like a task to complete. But by day 6, I realized I had stopped counting the days. Sunrise that morning, I sat down, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. No more peeking at the clock. No more wondering, am I doing this right? No more mental checklists. I just sat a day. I breathed. And I felt my own presence in that moment. Red heart # for the first time in months, I didn't feel like anything was missing. I didn't need to be productive. I didn't need to be better. I didn't need to achieve anything. I sat in silence. And I felt enough. According to research from the University of Wisconsin, consistent meditation for just 5 to 7 days can decrease activity in brain regions tied to self-judgment, increase feelings of connection to self and others, activate the prefrontal cortex, helping us see life with more acceptance. And honestly, I didn't need a study to tell me that. I felt it. Meditation no longer felt like a skill to master. It felt like coming home to myself. Speech balloon. Then a small moment happened. I remember it so clearly. While I was sitting, a familiar thought passed by. I'm not good enough. I'm moving too slow. But unlike every other day, I noticed it, smiled gently, and let it go. I didn't try to prove anything. I didn't try to fix myself. I simply sat with that thought. Like sitting next to an old friend. Seedling. Maybe this is the most meaningful thing I've received from meditation. Not silence, but acceptance. I don't need to run anymore. I don't need to be perfect either. I just need to stay, truly stay, with myself. Tomorrow is the final day. And I'm no longer thinking about finishing the challenge. Now, I'm simply wondering. If I stop meditating after day 7, what part of myself would I be leaving behind? Part 4. Day 7, what I feared most was not meditating anymore. When I first started this challenge, I thought day 7 would be the end. I'd complete the mission, wrap up the experience, and go back to life as usual. But on the morning of day 7, as I sat down and set the timer like always, I realized something unexpected. I didn't want to stop. I was afraid to stop doing this. Sun with small cloud hash. I no longer sat to meditate. I sat because it simply felt like part of my morning, naturally. No fireworks. No spiritual awakening. Just a quieter, gentler version of me, present. And I thought, if every day started with just 10 minutes like this, how different would life feel? From someone who always lived in my head, I began to live in my body again. I noticed my breath, my back, the sunlight coming through the window, the birds outside the balcony. I wasn't thinking about my day. I was in it before it even began. I had never realized how far I drifted from myself. Until I sat quietly with myself each morning. Face without mouth meditation didn't give me explosive energy. It didn't make me hyper-focused. But it did something far deeper. It taught me how to pause and truly listen to myself. It created a stillness, where I could choose my response instead of reacting. Where I could live, not just survive the noise of the world. Seedling and my biggest fear after 7 days? Wasn't the discomfort of sitting still. It was losing this one thing. That was gently anchoring me in the chaos. I realized. I don't meditate to become better. I meditate to come back to being human. Speech balloon, my quiet promise on the final morning. I don't know how long I'll keep going. But I know this. I don't want to go back to being someone who only lives through noise. And if you've never tried this, I hope you do. Not for 7 days. Just for one. Because you deserve to be alone with yourself. Without judgment. Without noise. Without effort. Just be there. And enough. Final part, English translation. You don't need to change your life. You just need to pause to actually feel it. I tried meditation for 7 days. Not to become enlightened. Not to turn myself into some optimized version. But simply to see what would happen if I just sat with myself. And here's what I discovered. Our minds aren't the enemy, they just want to be heard. Silence isn't scary, it only feels unfamiliar because we've gone so long without touching it. And 10 minutes a day? It can be an anchor in a world that's always trying to make you run. Electric light bulb meditation isn't the goal. It's the quiet space between the noise. It's the place you return to when the world outside feels too loud. And sometimes, in the very moment you stop trying so hard, you finally see yourself more clearly than ever. White right pointing backhand index if meditation ever felt distant or unreachable. I hope this video brought it just a little closer. White heavy checkmark like if you feel like you need a little stillness in your life. White heavy checkmark subscribe to Everyday Momentum where each week you'll try one simple rule that might just shift how you live. White heavy checkmark turn on the bell so you don't miss the next challenge. White heavy checkmark and comment below. I'll give myself 10 minutes a day too. It doesn't have to be meditation. Just 10 minutes for you. Because sometimes, a better life starts with a single breath taken at the right time.